Hi guys, so this is gonna be my first YouTube video about me actually like talking about a topic, but of course, yes, it has to do with music. I'm gonna talk about Black cultural appropriation in K-pop. So I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is Princess Shonzi Kelensalainen. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. I mean, it's not like I'm a big YouTuber, but if you do, great. If you don't, life goes on. Talk about a country like Korea. They're not exempt because this is a very anti-Black country, very conservative, very anti-homosexual, very misogynistic. So those things are what we kind of are seeing through K-pop because it's so normalized in this culture, and that's why it's so obvious to us, and they're very comfortable with what they're doing, and that's why they're blatantly doing this, which includes copying Black music. Of course, I don't want to punish all of the idols because all of them are not like this, but even though I know I'm gonna hold the companies more responsible, the idols are not being forced. Nobody's putting a gun to their head. They willingly go into the idol life, and they go into the idol life when they can't go to university. And it comes to a point where is this just ignorance? Because the first time it's ignorance, the second time you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. And they're not gonna stop doing this. And this is a problem. So today we're going to talk about Black cultural appropriation in K-pop. This is like a huge topic right now, which is crazy because this has been going on since the 90s, and why are we just now noticing this? I don't know. But I basically just wanted to break down the system and kind of project how racism plays a huge part in cultural appropriation. But today's topic is K-pop because the same system worked for why American white people have colonized rock and roll and country, because a lot of people don't know that actually came from Black people, and J-pop came from rock, but they didn't know that came from Black people too. So every genre of music you hear comes from, you guessed it, Black people. But there is a way to show appreciation for a culture, and then there is the fine line of appreciating and appropriating a culture. So basically, they're appropriating the culture because, for one, again, this is a very anti-Black place, so it's very likely these people are very anti-Black. Also, Black music is the backbone of the industry. CEO of YG had even said this himself, and tried to create a girl group to copy what group we had, what's called TLC. But I'll get into all of that later. So I'm basically going to talk about blatant copies of Black music because they're so painfully obvious, and they've even gone as far as to do blackface and do blackfishing, which is really unnecessary. If you like hip-hop, that's fine, but you don't have to go that far with it. But blackface is so normal in Korea, that's a problem within itself, because in America that is extremely disrespectful because of the history behind it. Blackface was used to depict Black people in a negative light, and it also caused the resurgence of the KKK, which is basically a white terrorist group in America. And I love my queen CL, but she ain't exempt. Hyuna, she is not exempt, even though she's the baddest girl in K-pop. What do these women have in common? Oh, appropriating Black culture and somehow getting famous for it. The problem is that non-Black people are getting more praise for doing things that Black people are doing than an actual Black person would. And see, that is also the issue that we have. But again, this is how racism does play a part in cultural appropriation, because the most racist people participate in it and they profit off of it. I.e., this is why white people have rock and roll. And then these same industries exclude Black people from it. For one, Black people are not marketable, but their culture is. For two, they don't want to be outshined because it'd be very clear that, oh, Black people do it better. And you know, they want to act like this music is their own and they're so creative and original, and we know, nah, you're just stealing Black songs, you're just stealing Black culture. But these are the same people that don't even like Black people. That makes it even more disrespectful. Hey, so girl, I basically had to take notes. I had to study all week, and people were tagging me in videos, and I had to go over all of these videos and all of the stuff that's been going on, because it was so much to cover. It's a shame how much racism and cultural appropriation is in K-pop. I felt like I was writing an essay. So basically, my first segment is going to be blatant copies of Black music, and you cannot deny these were obviously copied. We're going to talk about cultural appropriation, like their hairstyles and the use of use of blackface. And then we're going to wrap it up with some trash apologies that they've given us after appropriating our culture or saying something racist and then proceeding to do it again. And that's why I believe these apologies are trash, because they don't mean it, because they keep doing it. So yeah, that's basically the segments I'm going to talk about. I'm probably not going to be able to cover all of this in one video. It's probably going to have to be split up, but I'll do the best I can and just go from there. So let's say we're going to start with blatant copies of Black music. This is something that they've been doing since the 90s. And plagiarism in the music industry is not very unheard of. It's not extremely uncommon. It's just that they don't make it so obvious. Whereas in Korea, they've made it plainly obvious that they are copying Western music and Western culture, which is crazy because they are very careful not to appropriate Japanese culture because of the Korean-Japanese war, whatever they had going on, okay? And that's their business. But they're not doing the same thing with Western culture. They're just seeing it and doing it. And that already in itself is not a good plan, because you don't want to start doing something and you don't really know what you're doing. So yeah, let's get into it. NWA. And that's the band clearly that this group is trying to copy. It's so plainly obvious. I mean, a lot of the younger stands are not going to catch this, because I didn't catch a lot of it being a second gen stand. I'm just now noticing this stuff. Like, so we're gonna start from the beginning. So I'm gonna start with one of the earliest boy groups we can go back to. It's called Sotajian Boys. Okay, and if you watch these videos, you can clearly see that they are using blackface, black fishing. And this is very, very unnecessary. And this is the problem that we have with our appropriation, is that they're negatively depicting Black people to be a part of a culture that they want to profit off of. And we didn't ask them to do all this. If Koreans want to rap, I mean, I don't know what they rap about, but you can do that. But it's just the black fishing and all the extra unnecessariness, the stealing Black music, that's when it's getting disrespectful. Because rap in America, when Black people created rap, it literally stands for rhythm and poetry. It was used as poetry to drums, and then it became actual music, which is hip hop. The point of rap was to project what was going on in the hood, the 70s, 80s, 90s. Basically gangbanging, the drugs, selling of drugs, police brutalities, stuff we talk about now. Basically to show how hard it is for Black people to survive, especially in these places, because the ghettos were built in the hopes that Black people would eradicate themselves. But as you can see, we're not going nowhere. So that was what the point was of rap was. And now people see this stuff as cool. I didn't know oppression was cool, but it wasn't meant to be cool. The gang banging is not cool. That was their protection. And then they fall into the gangs because that is their family. Since, unfortunately, a lot of Black children grow up without fathers, or they grow up without their mothers. So they usually only have one parent, which is usually just their mother. And so they fall into the gangs because that's their family. And if you live in places like, really bad hoods, your gang is your protection. Your gang is your family. And you guys find a way to survive, which is usually the selling of drugs. Because companies do not hire Black people, they pay them less, they don't treat them right. So sometimes they fall into that because that is their survival. And they're trying to tell people hey, this is what I had to do, or this is what I have to do just to survive because I'm Black. And people find that cool. It's not cool, because they're not going to tell you what it's really like being a part of that life. And you have to look over your shoulder all the time, not just because you're Black too, but because of the rival gangs, which are other minorities. And then you got to look out for police brutality. And they're also involved in a lot of drug crimes, but you won't hear that from me because I ain't trying to go. But yeah, so those things are not cool. It was actually supposed to be a projection of how hard it really is for Black people to survive. So then when people want to be a part of this culture, it's like, okay, what's your story? that's what rap is supposed to be, like tell your story. How hard has it been for you to survive? So really, how hard is it to be Korean in Korea? Must be pretty hard, huh? All right, let's move it along to the next generation. So we all know Big Bang. They also built their careers off appropriating Black culture. The song La 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 sounds very familiar, don't it? La La La, bum bum bum. Oh, that's where I heard that before. Okay. Oh, when was this released? In 2002. Big Bang La 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 was released in 2006. So yes, they tried to copy B2K. Tae wanted to be like Omarion so bad, and that's so cute, because that's quite a goal. That is quite a goal. But yes, if you look at this music video, like you can see a lot of black fishing here, a lot of cultural appropriation, because when did Koreans start wearing braids? It's funny because these are the same styles that they call ugly, but now it's cool. Okay. And this is the problem. Like, you can be a part of hip hop culture, but you still have to know your place. You still have to be in your place. I don't understand why they can't participate in hip hop and be a Korean rapper and project Korean culture. Like, why is that so hard? I'm sure there's gangsters in Korea. I'm sure there's hoods in Korea. I'm sure there's some Korean boys that's really about that life. But you can tell they're not. They just want to act like they are because it's gonna sell. Yep, so they tried to be like B2K. And let's go to YG's first girl group. So if you look at this, you can clearly tell that they're trying to copy TLC. It's so plain. If you don't see it, honey, go put your glasses on, make you an eye appointment. Because look, the outfits and everything. I thought it was a cute attempt. It was kind of cute. The blackfishing, again, it's the blackfishing for me. Because who told her, first of all, the blonde girl, that hairstyle was cute. In the tans, you could tell they were blackfishing. Even in their live performances, they're wearing cornrows with hoops, like trying to look like, you know, black girl in the 90s. Yeah, I find this very disrespectful. And the song was very mediocre. The vocals were very mediocre. Because what's funny is, like, they have no soul. Very rarely do non-black people have, you know, this je ne sais quoi, and it usually includes rhythm and soul. Nobody can copy it. They want to so bad, but they cannot. So even with rock and roll, the rhythm was taken out of it because white people could not play those instruments the way black people did. Same thing here. They're just kind of taking the rhythm and soul out of it because they just don't have it, and that's okay, you know. I think they still look cute. It was a cute attempt, but you can tell this is a blatant copy. Let's move it along. Okay, so there was one. Let's see. Again, there was a song called "Stop Girl." This is a lesser popular group, but y'all might know who this is. They're called You Kiss. Where is that video? And this song is called "Stop Girl," and it sounds very familiar, right? Stop girl, in the name of love. Where have I heard that before? Oh yeah, that is actually a song by a black trio called the Supremes. And that's a very old song by these three black queens, Stop in the Name of Love. And I caught that the first time I heard it, but I thought, okay, maybe they're paying homage or whatever. But no, they're trying to act like that was their own song. You know how I know they knew what they was doing? Because I think 3 of them grew up in America. If you grew up in America, you know that song. Everybody and their mama knows that song if you grew up in America. It's like everybody and their mama knows Michael Jackson. It's just one of the things you always will know and you can't escape it. So that's another example of how the industry like blatantly steals black music and tries to claim it as their own. And this group was like one of the groups that tried to play it safe. So they're like one of the most basic K-pop groups. So if a basic K-pop group can even find a way to obviously appropriate black culture or steal black music, and this isn't even a hip-hop group, It's basically almost in every K-pop song that you hear, almost. I don't know, what is his name, Eli? Who let him wear his hair like this? Who told him, no, this is cute, this is cute, go on camera looking like this? But in all seriousness though, who wear it better though? Again, it's how I know Eli don't got no real friends, because I would not let him walk out the house looking like that. I'd be like, why you want to go outside looking like a broom? Why? Again, if you're gonna try to do these styles, you have to do them correctly. Oh my god. So in all honesty, like, a lot of their music comes off very misogynistic to me anyway, but there is a lot of misogyny in Korea, therefore there's a lot of misogyny in K-pop. And I might do a separate video about that, how like the female K-pop idols get the short end of the stick. But like a lot of their songs, the theme is that like the girl doesn't want them, but they can't take a hint. Quit Playing is one of the most obvious ones, obviously. I don't even find like their vocals or anything astonishing. I think this one, whatever his name is, he has pretty decent vocals. If he could rap, he really could just be solo. And lastly, y'all might be mad about this one. You know that song Juliet? That sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Oh, Juliet. Yeah. You know why? That's actually one of my favorite songs. It's actually copied from one of my favorite songs, which was Corbin Bleu, Deal With It. And yes, Corbin did it better. The only difference is, even though they did copy the song, SM did buy the song, but they tried to tweak it just a tiny bit. But it still is so obvious when you play it back to back. And I did like Corbin's version better because it just had, again, the je ne sais quoi that they cannot capture. And Shiny, I can see where they have appropriated Black culture too, and basically built their careers off appropriating Black culture. I can't say for sure like who they tried to copy, besides the Corbin Bleu, but I don't think they tried to copy Corbin Bleu as a band. I'm not sure. I have to think about that one. But okay, very obvious Big Bang tried to be like B2K. That's extremely obvious. Hip Hop Gentleman. I mean, all of these songs really you could tell is copied from Black music. If you like grew up in America and you listen to Black music. So basically, yes, Black people are the blueprint for almost every genre of music that you hear. But they'd rather die than admit it. The thing is, they're also stealing economic wealth from Black people by doing this, because they are profiting off of not only another Black artist's hard work, but off of their music. And then on top of that, excluding Black people from the genre, excluding them from K-pop, excluding them from country, excluding them from rock and roll, stuff that we invented, because they don't want us to have any of that wealth. So at this point, they're actually, yes, they're stealing our music, stealing our styles, and then now they're stealing our economic wealth. That's a problem for me. We're just gonna leave it there. Okay, but let's go back though, see, because now I gotta roast him like, dang, what is this? Why do these look like French fries? Why, you got French fries on your head? Boy, you need some water because these are so dry. Oh my god, these are so dry. You know, you need some oil sheen. I put some oil sheen on that. And see, this is why this is just so disrespectful, because it's like, y'all not even doing this right. Like, if you, first of all, Black people are not a cosplay. Okay, let's start there. And if you're gonna try to copy our style and our hairstyles, like, do it right.